I didn't break you overnight. I did it slowly, with words, with silence, with love. I'm a narcissist, and this is how I destroy people. My name is Jonathan Pierce. I'm 42 years old, corporate attorney, six-figure salary, corner office in downtown Chicago. And for most of my adult life, I've been a master manipulator. I didn't always know what I was. I just knew I was good at getting what I wanted. It started young, maybe 10 or 11. I figured out that if I cried at the right moment, my mom would give me anything. If I complimented my teacher before asking for an extension, I'd get it. Small victories, little experiments in control. By high school, I'd refined the craft. I learned that people loved feeling special. So I'd make them feel like the most important person in the world until they weren't useful anymore. Then I'd move on. College was a playground. I dated 3 women simultaneously for almost 2 years. None of them knew about the others. The trick was simple. Make each one believe she was different, that she understood me in ways no one else could. I'd tell Rachel about my troubled childhood, how my father never approved of me. She'd hold me, stroke my hair, promise she'd never leave. With Jennifer, I played the ambitious dreamer. We'd stay up late talking about changing the world. She saw me as brilliant, misunderstood. And with Claire, I was the bad boy she could fix, the diamond in the rough. Each woman got a different version of me. Each version was a lie. But here's the thing. I believed each lie while I was telling it. That's what made it so convincing. When Rachel finally found out about the others, she confronted me at a party, in front of everyone. I should have felt ashamed, embarrassed, guilty. Instead, I felt annoyed that she was making a scene. I turned it around on her, told everyone she was unstable, that she'd been stalking me, that I'd tried to let her down easy, but she wouldn't accept it. By the end of the night, people were comforting me. Rachel left in tears. I went home with someone new. That's when I realized something. I didn't just manipulate people, I enjoyed it. Law school amplified everything: the competition, the prestige, the constant need to be the smartest person in the room. I thrived. I'd study my professors, learn their weaknesses, their vanities. Then I'd exploit them. A well-timed compliment here, a strategic question there. Soon I was the favorite in every class. My classmates, they were either useful or obstacles. If they were useful, I'd befriend them, make them feel valued, get them to share their notes, their insights, their connections. If they were obstacles, I'd undermine them, subtly. A comment to a professor about their interesting interpretation of a case, a concerned whisper to mutual friends about their stress levels. Nothing overt, nothing traceable, just enough to plant doubt. I graduated top of my class, multiple job offers. I chose the firm with the most prestige, the highest salary, the best office view. I thought I'd made it. But here's what nobody tells you about being a narcissist. It's exhausting. Every conversation is a performance. Every relationship is a transaction. Every moment is about maintaining the image, protecting the ego, staying one step ahead. I met Catherine at a firm event. She was a paralegal, smart, beautiful, kind, too kind, probably. I saw in her eyes what I'd seen in so many others, that look of admiration, that hunger to be chosen by someone like me. So I chose her. The courtship was textbook. I love-bombed her. Flowers every week, thoughtful gifts, late-night conversations about our dreams, our fears, our future together. I told her she was my soulmate, the one I'd been waiting for. She believed every word. We married within a year. The wedding was perfect, magazine-worthy. Everyone commented on what a beautiful couple we made, how lucky we were. Catherine thought she'd found her fairy tale. What she'd actually found was a nightmare, She didn't know she was living yet. The mask slipped slowly. It always does. After the honeymoon phase, I didn't need to try as hard. She was locked in, married, committed. So I stopped performing. I'd come home late without explanation, not because I was working, because I wanted to, because I could. When she'd ask where I'd been, I'd sigh, act wounded. "Don't you trust me?" I'd say. "After everything I've done for you?" She'd apologize. I'd criticize her cooking, her appearance, her career. Never directly. That's too obvious. Instead, I'd say things like, "That dress is nice, but don't you think the other one was more flattering?" Or, "This dinner is good, but remember that amazing meal we had at the Italian place?" Always comparison, always falling short. She started doubting herself, trying harder, desperate for my approval. That's exactly where I wanted her. When she'd accomplish something at work, I'd downplay it. "That's great, honey. I remember when I got my first big case." Making it about me, diminishing her achievement. When she'd express frustration with me, I'd flip it, gaslight her. "I never said that. You're remembering it wrong. You're being too sensitive." After a while, she stopped trusting her own memory, her own feelings. She'd second-guess everything she said, everything she felt. I had complete control. But control requires maintenance, and maintenance requires vigilance, and vigilance is exhausting. I started making mistakes, getting sloppy. Catherine found messages on my phone from other women. When she confronted me, I didn't panic. I'd prepared for this moment for years. I cried, real tears. I told her I was broken, that my childhood trauma made me sabotage good things, that she was the only person who could save me, that if she left, I didn't know what I'd do. It worked. She stayed. We went to couples therapy. I played the remorseful husband perfectly, nodded at the right moments, said the right things, made promises I had no intention of keeping. The therapist bought it. Catherine wanted to buy it. For a few months, I was on my best behavior. Then, gradually, slowly, I slipped back. Because here's the truth. I didn't want to change. I liked who I was. I liked the power, the control, the ability to shape reality to my preferences. What I didn't like was the work it required. By year 5 of our marriage, Catherine was a shell, anxious, depressed, constantly apologizing for things that weren't her fault. She'd gained weight, lost interest in her hobbies, stopped seeing her friends. I'd isolated her perfectly. But isolation cuts both ways. I was succeeding at work, making partner, winning cases, getting recognition, but something was hollow. Every victory felt empty. Every achievement felt meaningless. I'd look around my beautiful apartment, my successful career, my perfect life on paper, and feel nothing. Worse than nothing. A void. I started drinking more. Not enough to be obvious, just enough to dull the edge, to silence the whisper in the back of my mind that said something was deeply, fundamentally wrong with me. Catherine suggested I see a therapist, alone, for myself. I laughed at her. I don't need therapy. I'm not the one falling apart. But the void grew and grew until one night I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back. Not because I'd changed, but because for the first time, I saw myself clearly. I saw the manipulation, the lies, the destruction I'd left in my wake, the people I'd hurt, the relationships I'd destroyed, the version of myself I'd been selling for so long that I'd forgotten who I actually was underneath, if there anyone underneath was. That realization didn't make me a better person. Not immediately, maybe not ever fully, but it scared me enough to make a call. I found Dr. Emily Carter through a colleague. She specialized in personality disorders. I didn't tell Catherine I was going. I told myself it was because I wanted to surprise her with my progress. Really? I was terrified she'd see it as weakness. My first session with Dr. Carter was unlike anything I'd experienced.
She didn't buy my charm, didn't fall for my manipulation. When I tried my usual tactics, she'd pause, tilt her head, and say something like, "That's an interesting deflection. What are you avoiding?" It was infuriating.
And necessary. She diagnosed me after several sessions. Narcissistic personality disorder. Not just narcissistic traits, the full disorder. Grandiosity, need for admiration, lack of empathy, exploitation of others. Hearing it out loud was strange. Part of me wanted to argue, to explain that she was wrong, that I was just confident, ambitious, driven. But another part of me, a quieter part I'd been silencing for years, whispered, "Finally, someone sees you." Dr. Carter didn't sugarcoat it. "Jonathan," she said, "narcissism isn't just about loving yourself too much. It's about protecting a fragile ego with layers of defense mechanisms. The grandiosity, the manipulation, the lack of empathy, they're all armor. Protection against a core belief that you're fundamentally flawed." I laughed. Defensive. "That's ridiculous. I don't think I'm flawed." She leaned back. "Then, why are you here?" I didn't have an answer. Over the next months, therapy was brutal. Dr. Carter made me examine every relationship, every manipulation, every lie I'd told myself and others. She introduced me to schema therapy, explained that my narcissism likely developed as a coping mechanism, a way to deal with early childhood experiences where I learned that vulnerability was dangerous, that love was conditional, that I needed to be special, perfect, superior to be valued. So, I built a fortress, and I defended it with everything I had. The tragedy, Dr. Carter said one day, is that the fortress that protected you as a child is now your prison as an adult. That hit different. We worked on developing genuine empathy, not cognitive empathy, which I'd mastered, the ability to understand what someone was feeling so I could manipulate it, but emotional empathy, actually feeling what others felt. It was like learning a foreign language. Dr. Carter would have me practice with small moments. When Catherine talked about her day, instead of waiting for my turn to talk, I'd try to imagine her experience, her feelings, her perspective. It felt fake at first, mechanical, but slowly, something shifted. One evening, Catherine was crying about a conflict at work. My instinct was to minimize it, tell her she was overreacting, make it about how I'd handled similar situations better. Instead, I sat with her, listened, asked questions, didn't offer solutions or comparisons, just presence. Afterward, she looked at me with surprise. "Thank you," she said. "That really helped." I felt something unfamiliar. Not pride in my performance, but genuine connection. Like for a moment, we were actually in the same room instead of playing roles. It was terrifying and addictive. Dr. Carter warned me the work would be long, that personality disorders don't have quick fixes, that I'd spent 42 years building these patterns. They wouldn't disappear overnight. She taught me to recognize my triggers. When I'd feel the urge to manipulate or control, usually it was when I felt threatened, criticized, when someone had something I wanted, when I felt like I wasn't the center of attention. The goal wasn't to suppress those feelings, but to notice them, name them, choose a different response. Some days I managed it. I'd feel the urge to gaslight Catherine during an argument, but I'd pause, take a breath, say something honest instead. "You're right, I did say that. I'm sorry." Other days I failed spectacularly. Old patterns die hard. Catherine noticed the changes, slowly, cautiously. She'd been burned too many times to trust quickly, but she started opening up again, sharing more, risking vulnerability. One night, months into therapy, she asked me directly, "Are you seeing someone, a therapist?" I could have lied. Part of me wanted to. Admitting I needed help felt like admitting defeat. But I remembered what Dr. Carter said. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the only path to real connection. So I told her the truth. Everything. The diagnosis, the therapy, the work I was doing,
the ways I had hurt her, the ways I was trying to change. She cried. I expected anger, accusations. Instead, she said, "I've been waiting for you to come back. The real you, not the performance." I'm still in therapy. Probably will be for years, maybe forever. The work is ongoing. There are setbacks, days where I slip into old patterns, where the mask feels more comfortable than authenticity.
But there are also moments of genuine connection with Catherine, with friends, with colleagues. Moments where I'm not performing, not manipulating, not calculating my next move, just being. It's uncomfortable, vulnerable, scary as hell, but it's also the most real I've ever felt. Dr. Carter told me something in our last session that stuck with me. Recovery from narcissism isn't about becoming humble. It's about becoming whole, integrating all the parts of yourself you've been rejecting, the vulnerability, the imperfection, the humanity. I'm not there yet. Maybe I'll never fully be. The narcissistic patterns are deeply ingrained. They served a purpose once, kept me safe, helped me survive, but they're not serving me anymore. They're costing me everything that actually matters. So I keep showing up to therapy, to my marriage, to the uncomfortable work of being a real person instead of a carefully constructed image. Some days it feels impossible, like I'm trying to rebuild a house while still living in it. Other days, I catch a glimpse of who I might become. Someone authentic, connected, capable of real love, not just the performance of it. Catherine asked me last week if I regretted marrying her, if I wished I'd married someone who wouldn't have challenged me as much. Old Jonathan would have said whatever she wanted to hear, or would have turned the question back on her, made her doubt herself for asking. New Jonathan, the one I'm slowly becoming, told her the truth. You deserved better than who I was, but I'm grateful you stayed long enough to see who I'm trying to become. She took my hand, squeezed it, didn't need to say anything. She didn't need to. That's the thing about real connection. It doesn't always need words. If you're listening to this and you recognize yourself in my story, I want you to know something. Change is possible. It's brutally hard. It requires confronting parts of yourself you've spent a lifetime avoiding. It means letting go of the armor that's protected you. It means being vulnerable in ways that feel life-threatening. But on the other side of that vulnerability is something you've been searching for your whole life. Real connection, genuine relationships, a sense of self that isn't dependent on others' admiration or your own carefully maintained image. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be special. You just have to be willing to be real. If my story resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you experienced narcissism, either in yourself or others? How did you navigate it? And if you want to hear more stories like this, real accounts of psychological struggles and healing, hit that subscribe button. These conversations matter. Your story matters. Dr. Carter says recovery is measured in moments, not milestones. Moments of choosing authenticity over performance, connection over control, vulnerability over invulnerability. I'm collecting those moments, slowly, imperfectly, but intentionally. It's the hardest work I've ever done, and the most important, because at the end of the day, what's the point of being admired by everyone if you're not actually known by anyone? What's the point of winning every interaction if you lose yourself in the process? The mirror never lies. For years, I couldn't stand what I saw, so I built an elaborate illusion, convinced the world and myself that the illusion was reality. Now I'm learning to look without flinching, to see myself clearly. All of it, the manipulation, the hurt I've caused, the potential for change. It's not a pretty picture, but it's honest. And honesty, I'm learning, is the only foundation worth building on. My name is Jonathan Pierce.
I'm a narcissist in recovery, and for the first time in my life, I'm trying to be a real person. Not a perfect one, just a real one. That's enough.